Well, everyone, China is setting the stage for what could become the biggest development in financial history and completely change the future of the US dollar. Beijing has a new plan to position itself as the new anchor of the global financial system, using the exact same playbook the United States crafted nearly 50 years ago. And if China pulls this off, it won't just accelerate de-dollarization. It will rip away one of the strongest reasons for holding dollars in the first place. Let me explain how. You see, America's rise as a financial superpower actually began in Saudi Arabia many decades ago. Washington struck a deal. The US would guarantee Saudi security, and in return, the Saudis agreed to sell their oil exclusively in US dollars. That simple arrangement created the petrodollar system, and it kept global demand for the dollar sky high. Every nation needs energy to survive, and for most of modern history, energy meant oil, which also meant US dollars. But now the world is shifting. As countries move away from oil and towards renewables, one nation has emerged as the undisputed leader: China. And that's why Beijing's next move is so effective. China is proposing to leverage its worldwide dominance in renewable energy to replace oil with electricity as the foundation of global trade, backing the Chinese currency with electricity. In other words, an electricity-backed Chinese currency to rival the petrodollar. This could be a financial revolution in the making. A system like this would flip the very mechanics of world trade on their head, giving China the kind of structural dominance America has enjoyed since the 1970s. And today, we're going to break down exactly how such a system would work and the massive geopolitical consequences it would unleash. Let's get into it. You see, our world is changing, and oil is finite, volatile, and increasingly becoming a relic of the past. Electricity, by contrast, is the universal energy form of the modern world. Every nation consumes it daily, and demand is only accelerating with the rise of electric vehicles, massive AI data centers, and renewable-powered economies. An electricity RMB would work like the petrodollar system, but with power instead of oil. China could expand cross-border energy projects, high-voltage transmission lines, regional power grids, and renewable mega projects, and require that electricity exports be paid in renminbi. This would push countries holding on Chinese power to hold RMB reserves, gradually internationalizing the currency. With long-term contracts and stable pricing, the system could create a predictable market for electricity trade, effectively anchoring the renminbi to the fastest-growing energy source of the modern era. Now, this plan will require two major conditions. First, China must be able to provide massive amounts of energy to meet global demand. And second, the United States would have to squander its nearly six-decade lead in energy dominance. Not only do both of these shifts appear to be happening rapidly, but in many ways, they have already taken place. China has long recognized that energy is the cornerstone of the 21st century, but the United States has struggled to keep pace. Across nearly every area of policy, Washington has grown complacent, clinging to outdated assumptions instead of preparing for the challenges ahead. A reliance on American exceptionalism and faith in its own narratives have left the country dangerously unprepared for the energy realities that will shape global influence in the decades to come. In the United States, electricity demand is skyrocketing. One of the largest drivers of this surge is the race for AI, which relies on massive data centers that consume tremendous amounts of energy to power their servers. Earlier this year, the Trump administration announced the $500 billion Stargate project in conjunction with OpenAI, but it is already facing major setbacks. The demand simply exceeds the capacity of the American grid. The US electricity grid is simply unable to keep pace with AI and other emerging technologies of the 21st century. This shortfall is the result of bipartisan failure by American politicians to plan for the long term. New electricity generation in the United States has remained largely stagnant since 2005. While China has seen massive year-to-year leaps in energy output. Think about how much technology has advanced since 2005. When putting that into perspective of having no increase in energy output, this statistic becomes all the more incredible. US politicians frequently stress the importance of competing with China in AI. But how can that competition succeed if the grid cannot even support the power requirements of the AI models themselves? This reality was highlighted in a viral article from Fortune magazine, which recounted a visit by Chinese AI experts to the United States. They were stunned by the fragility of the US grid, leaving them with the sobering conclusion that this race may already be over. The article points out that in the US, large-scale infrastructure projects depend heavily on private investment, but most investors expect a return within 3 to 5 years. far too short for power projects that can take a decade to build and pay off. In China, by contrast, the state directs money towards strategic sectors in advance of demand, accepting that not every project will succeed, but ensuring the capacity is in place when it's needed. Without public financing to de-risk long-term bets, the U.S. political and economic system is simply not set up to build the grid of the future. Now, this isn't just about powering AI data centers. The U.S. grid is also unprepared for the explosive growth of electric vehicles. In 2024, global EV sales topped 17 million, up more than 25% from the year before. And by 2035, they're expected to make up nearly half of all auto sales. Yet, America's infrastructure is still built around gasoline. Charging networks are inadequate, and the grid simply can't handle the surge in demand that widespread EV adoption will bring. These failures stem from decades of complacency, built on cheap oil. U.S. energy dominance may have mattered in the 1970s, but it doesn't in 2025. Washington still clings to the drill baby drill, pouring money into outdated, polluting, and costly natural gas. Meanwhile, China saw the shift many years ago and invested heavily to lead the world in renewable energy. I'm going to detail all of the new and amazing energy projects that China has launched and how they're going to change the future of electricity. But first, give me a few minutes of your time, as I want to introduce you to today's video sponsor, Defi Technologies, which trades on the NASDAQ under the symbol DEFT and plays right in today's video topic of de-dollarization and how you can prepare yourself for the future. You see, we all know that the US government will keep printing dollars for many years to come, and that's exactly why assets like gold and Bitcoin have surged in value over the past 2 years. DeFi Tech is a global, profitable business riding the wave of decentralized finance and crypto adoption. But here's the amazing part. This company has consistently outperformed Bitcoin for more than 5 years. It just announced record quarterly results, and with a trailing PE ratio of only 9, is now trading at a serious discount. Now, I've studied this company a lot, and in fact, I've featured this company many times on this YouTube channel. In my view, the crown jewel of DeFi Technologies is its most reliable and recurring business model, asset management. Through its subsidiary, Valor, the company creates and issues exchange-traded products, ETPs, for the cryptocurrency sector. By the end of May 2025, Valor had over $800 million under management, and it monetizes that capital in ways most asset managers could only dream of. On top of that, another division of Valor generates about 8% returns through staking and lending on the assets that it manages. Now, Valor offers more than 75 ETPs, giving investors exposure across the entire crypto market. This model is incredibly profitable because it solves a key problem. Many institutions are restricted from holding cryptocurrencies directly, but they can fully own ETPs. While today's video focuses on the future of electricity and China's currency plans, it's worth noting how the Trump administration is also reshaping U.S. cryptocurrency policy. DeFi Technologies has taken notice, recently making a strategic U.S. acquisition while continuing its global expansion. And here's where the qualitative edge comes in. Solana. As the parent of Valor, DeFi Technologies is the largest institutional asset manager of Solana in North America. By staking Solana, the company earns an impressive 8.5% yield, translating into as much as $33 million in annualized revenue at current prices, more than any other asset manager or public Solana holder worldwide. By now, it's clear why DeFi Technologies is my #1 crypto idea. The company has outperformed Bitcoin over the past 5 years, trades at conservative multiples, and is one of only 3 profitable public crypto companies. Everyone, if you're interested in learning more, I'm going to include the investor presentation and additional information down in the description below. Please remember to do your own due diligence before making any investments. But now let's get back to our story and see how China is revolutionizing the future of global energy. You see, it all started this year with China bringing the world's first thorium reactor online, revolutionizing nuclear energy forever by making the technology much safer and efficient. This year, China has also broken ground on the Yarlung Tangpu Megadam in Tibet. Once operational, it will not only be the largest dam ever constructed, but the largest energy plant in world history. Its planned annual electricity generation is approximately 300 billion kilowatt hours. And to put that in perspective, the entire United Kingdom consumed around 259 billion in 2023. That means that this single power plant in Tibet could generate enough electricity to power the world's 6th largest economy entirely on its own. These are just two examples from this year alone, but China isn't just fueling domestic energy needs. It is also looking abroad and turning infrastructure in both a developmental tool and a mechanism for RMB internationalization. Let's take Laos for an example, which recently signed a $1.45 billion clean energy mega project with a Chinese firm. In the past, Laos had to convert its currency into US dollars, and then again into renminbi to pay for Chinese equipment and services, letting the dollar skim profits at every step. Today, with direct RMB settlement, the Central Bank of Laos can transfer funds straight to China, keeping more value at home while also boosting the renminbi's role abroad. A similar project took shape in Brazil, where State Grid China built a 2,000-kilometer transmission line to carry hydropower from the Amazon to the southeastern coast. By exporting not only energy infrastructure, but also a financial system that bypasses the dollar's cut, Chinese firms demonstrate how overseas projects can drive both development and the internationalization of the RMB. And this is not an isolated case. Similar stories of energy projects bypassing the dollar and trading directly in RMB are emerging across the globe, most especially throughout the global south. Just take Guyana in West Africa, for example. At the end of 2023, China delivered a hydropower station on the Conakry River, dubbed the Three Gorges of West Africa, as a fully integrated package. This project included the dam, as well as the turbines, transformers, and transmission towers required to operate it. When the station went online, it supplied 1/3 of Guyana's nationwide electricity. And beyond just the infrastructure, the Chinese team stayed on to train over 800 local technicians, establishing West Africa's first hydropower training center and creating a pipeline of skilled workers ready to operate the facility. U.S. firms often decline or double costs when tasked with building in extreme terrains, such as Angola's mountains, Myanmar's dense forest, or Pakistan's highlands. In contrast, Chinese engineering teams can construct mega projects in these challenging environments with the same ease as if they were working at home. This level of expertise comes from decades of building infrastructure globally, which the U.S. simply cannot match. China's approach allows it to dominate energy infrastructure across the global south. As the world's demand for electricity continues to grow, and with China leading the way in new energy generation, this could set the stage for a bold new strategy, an electricity-backed renminbi, tying the currency's influence directly to the foundation of the 21st century. For decades, the dollar has relied on two pillars to maintain dominance: oil and U.S. Treasury bonds. China's strategy is quietly dismantling both. By producing renewable energy more cheaply than oil and converting electricity into a stable, renminbi-dominated financial anchor, Beijing is eroding the foundations of dollar hegemony. And as this transition accelerates, the structural advantages the U.S. once enjoyed, like cheap energy and control over global reserves, are rapidly diminishing. The result is a profound realignment. The dollar's influence weakens, while the renminbi, anchored to electricity, rises as the true lifeblood of the 21st century trade and power. The electricity-backed renminbi is not a distant idea. It is the next frontier in the battle for financial supremacy, and it very may well define who holds the levers of global power for decades to come. Everyone, I want to thank you for making it to this point of the video, and if there's one thing I want you to take away from our video, it's the simple fact that our world is changing fast, and you need to prepare yourself for major changes in the future. I've always been a fan of diversification and investing in new and emerging technologies, and still remain very bullish on the future of crypto as well. So please do your homework on today's video sponsor, DeFi Technologies, as I feel they are an incredible company that is positioned well for the future. As always, I want to thank you for your incredible support, and we look forward to seeing you all in our next video soon.